Hello YouTube, my name is Courtney. Welcome to Courtney and Books. This is part 2 of my journey as an indie author, and I'm going to be going over a lot more of the sales portion today. But if you're interested in the early pre-publishing process, there is a link to part 1 of this video in the description below. Let's get into it. Despite not using beta readers, I did finally utilize ARC readers on my latest release, Wicked Tides. ARC stands for Advanced Reader Copy. Essentially, an ARC reader is someone who agrees to read your book before its release. In exchange, they are agreeing to leave an honest review when it's released to the public. And early reviews help to push your book in the early days. Wicked Tides is my first book where my own art is actually on the cover. I worked very hard on this book. I did a lot of things I didn't do for previous books, like building hype almost a year before its release and announcing that I was seeking ARC readers. You can find ARC readers on your own by asking friends or joining groups where authors and readers are searching for people to participate. It should be known though that when a person agrees to be an advanced reader, they're not under contract to actually review your book when it comes out. It sucks. I know. We as authors want to know that if we send a free book to someone, they'll hold up their end of the bargain, but this little gamble is kind of part of the process. The portion of readers that do leave a review do help bring attention to your book, so it's kind of worth it. If you don't want or you can't find ARC readers for your book on your own, there are other ways such as subscribing to sites like Book Sirens. Book Sirens is a website specifically dedicated to ARC readers. In other words, readers who are subscribed know the books they are reading are advanced copies, and they're usually seasoned ARC readers who understand the process. It isn't the only site of its kind, but it's the one that I used, so I'm only going to talk about my experiences with them. The fee is pretty small for authors to list a book on Book Sirens. At the time of this video, it's $10 to list a book, and when your manuscript is uploaded and approved, Book Sirens will start pushing it to the appropriate audience. Every reader who opts in to read your book, you will get charged for them. Currently, it's $2 for every reader, but you can also customize your experience. For instance, if you're on a tight budget, you can set a limit to how many readers can opt in. There's also an option to review readers and approve them yourself rather than letting anyone join. I chose this option because of my budget, so I was able to look over readers' profiles, find out how many books they've read and how many reviews they've left. And if a reader has read, like, say 100 books and they have only left 2 reviews, I didn't want to pay $2 for them to read my book and really take that chance that they wouldn't even leave a review. The reason Book Sirens charges you is not the same as paying for reviews. The reason they charge you is because they're giving you access to a very large number of readers, all there specifically looking for advanced books. On my own, I think I found about 8 readers, and with Book Sirens, I got about 80. In the end, within a week of publishing my book, I already had about 20 reviews on Amazon and about 30 on Goodreads. Side note, you can also indicate on Book Sirens where you prefer readers to leave reviews. Personally, I prefer Amazon because that's where my sales actually happen. Other authors prefer Goodreads, which is understandable because it's a huge hub for readers to share books, but Amazon's algorithm actually has a lot to do with reviews, so that's where I typically direct people if they're willing. On to the actual selling of books. This is also something that I only did for the first time with Wicked Tides. Before that, I was pretty much only selling on Amazon, and since they provide a book number for free, that's what I was doing. If you want to sell books to libraries and bookstores, however, you will want an ISBN number. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. It's a unique identifier for your book that's used by publishers, booksellers, libraries, and other retailers for sales records and stock control. If you use Amazon's free number, you're kind of locked in with Amazon, which of course is what Amazon wants, but that's not really what we as authors want. Amazon's free ISBN number is not transferable to any other publishing platform, and Amazon is every other bookstore's competition, so bookstores are not inclined to buy from Amazon, obviously. Many bookstores and libraries prefer to purchase books from Ingram Spark, which requires a separate ISBN number. If you can afford to buy an ISBN number, I highly recommend it just to give yourself more control of your work, which essentially is what we want as indie authors in the first place. They are pricey, but once you buy them, they are yours. I bought mine from Bowker. There is a link in the description if you want to check it out. They have a deal where you can buy 10 ISBN numbers for $295, and considering only buying one ISBN number is $125 by itself, it's a pretty good deal. And if you think 10 numbers might be strange or too much, just know that your books will need separate numbers for special editions, paperbacks, hardbacks, etc. Even ebooks can require an ISBN, but since I don't currently plan on distributing my ebooks anywhere but Amazon, I have only been using my personal ISBN numbers for hardbacks and paperback books, which I've recently begun listing on Barnes & Noble. Despite slowly expanding to make my paperbacks available on other platforms, I am pretty much exclusively on Amazon when it comes to ebooks. When I started, I got no traction with my first book. At first, I just had it listed on Amazon and I just sort of waited for readers to come to me. The first promotion I ever did was with Red Feather Romance, and I spent about $100 for them to push my book, which at the time I had listed for 99 cents, which was a discount, and they were pushing it to their subscribers. And nothing came of it. I think I made about 10 sales, and the royalties from a 99-cent book are near to nothing, so I didn't make that money back and I never saw any lasting effects from the promo. So I just kind of let the book sit a while longer until I decided to enroll in Kindle Unlimited. Some might say that Kindle Unlimited is a little bit of a ripoff for authors in terms of royalties, but Amazon is kind of designed in a way that pushes Kindle Unlimited books more than normal ebooks. Not only that, but romance readers are some of the most voracious readers out there. I myself am a romance reader, and I can attest that I can sometimes read 2 books in one day. So purchasing ebooks can be a little bit daunting when you're going through that many. What is Kindle Unlimited? Kindle Unlimited, rather than being a place where you go and you purchase a book for $2.99, $3.99, or whatever the price is, instead, and then once you purchase the book, that is your book, and you download it and that's it. But with Kindle Unlimited, you as a reader can actually rent a book, and I think you can have maybe 10 books at once in your library. You can rent the book, you can read the book, you can return the book and get another book. So again, if you're a really voracious reader who goes through books very quickly, it's very useful to you. For authors, it's a little bit scary because you have to put your book on Kindle Unlimited for 3 months at a time, and in that time, your ebook cannot be sold on other platforms. Basically, you're exclusive to Amazon for that period. Now, I have heard horror stories about authors whose books were found on pirating sites, which somehow led to them getting in trouble with Amazon because of the exclusivity contract. It hasn't happened to me, knock on wood, but it is always kind of in the back of my mind, giving me unnecessary anxiety. To sum it up, I was hesitant, but like I said, Amazon pushes it more, and since I'm a romance writer, I tried it. Royalties on Kindle Unlimited do not come from purchases. Instead, they come from pages read. You get something like 0.004 pennies per page. It's not a lot, I know. The nice thing about that, however, is that someone can read a few pages of your book, and if they don't like it, they can return it, but you still get a little bit of royalties off the pages that they did read, whereas readers can actually purchase your book and return it if you're not enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, and you get nothing at all. Also, with Kindle Unlimited comes promo opportunities, like setting your book for free. You have 5 days every 3-month period that you are enrolled in Kindle Unlimited where you can launch a free promotion, and you can spread them out or use them all at once. When you set your book for free, Amazon pushes them a little bit more and it can boost your ranks. Readers are always on the lookout for free books. I've had great success with free promotions, and I've also had some lackluster ones as well. It all depends on whether you promote your free promotion and how. I know it's getting a little confusing. You can set your book as free for a bit and it will likely boost your rank a little, but to boost it significantly, you'll probably have to push it on your own. There are a few ways to do this. The best way I found that is completely free of charge is through Stuff Your Kindle events. These events are pretty abundant and typically are organized according to genre. You can browse Facebook groups and other platforms and find Stuff Your Kindle events, and basically what they are events that occur for one day. They get tons of authors to participate, and every author agrees to make their book free for the designated day, and they also cross-promote and spread the word so that readers can mark their calendars and then download all the books that they want on that day. I've only done 2 Stuff Your Kindle events, but both were a big success and yielded thousands of downloads. I did notice, however, that some readers frequent Stuff Your Kindle events, so if you promote the same book in multiple events too close together, you might see numbers decline a little bit because people have already seen your book. But again, Stuff Your Kindle events are free of charge and are just a bunch of authors supporting authors, so it's a great way to get noticed. But Stuff Your Kindle events aren't the only way to promote your book. Like I said, I did a promotion for a discounted ebook and saw very little turnaround, and since then I've only done one other paid promotion for a discounted book and it yielded about the same results, more or less. The most success I've found is when you're promoting a free book. The first time I ever did a paid promotion for a free book was with Freebooksy. I was broke as hell. Who am I kidding? I still am. So my extremely supportive mother paid for a promotion through Freebooksy on the first book I ever published. It's around $100 to promote a free book through them, but that price fluctuates slightly depending on the genre of your book. Basically, you pay and then schedule a day for Freebooksy to promote your free book to their extensive list of subscribers. I know, if you're like me, $100 is still a little bit daunting, especially when you aren't even going to see any royalties from a book that's free. But here's what happened. After that promo with Freebooksy, my ranks went up enough for me to triple the $100 that I spent on the promo that month. So essentially, I made $200 if you subtract the $100 that I spent. Not only that, but the effects carried over to the following month as well. Do not, and I repeat, do not do those little $25 promos where on X or Instagram or whatever social media. Sure, that account might have 300k followers or 1 million followers, but check their engagement because 9 times out of 10, there isn't any. Paying a social media page to post about your book to thousands of followers that don't even interact with them is just throwing money away. Also, if any page or person contacts you for a promotion, run the other way. Because most of the time, those are a scam. This goes for reviews as well. Never should somebody contact you saying they want to review your book and then ask for money. That is grounds to immediately block that person. Chances are that review won't even be authentic, chances are that person hasn't even read the book, and if they have read the book, then they can just leave a review on their own. They don't need to contact you asking to leave a review for money. Another way to get your name out there is events. Events are a little hard to come by sometimes, but keep your ear to the ground, join some Facebook groups, and look for some. If you can afford to go to events out of state, that's great too. Events can also be daunting to an author on a tight budget, since you have to spend money on ordering printed copies of your book, you have to pay for a booth, which can be anywhere from $30 to $1,000 depending on the event and the type of booth. You have to pay for travel if you're driving or flying somewhere. Extra materials would be banners, table runners, book art, prints, bookmarks, or whatever else you think you might need for your display. Events can sometimes be the most expensive way to promote your book, but I find that meeting readers face-to-face is one of the best ways to build a loyal fan base. Being able to talk to people about your book and be your own salesperson is a great learning experience and can also be very encouraging. The first moment that you sign your book and hand it to a new reader can really inspire you as a writer. I don't always make a significant profit at events after the cost of everything, but I have never regretted doing one. Also, because I'm very familiar with comic convention scenes since I was a costume designer and a cosplayer for many, many years, I started vending as an author at larger conventions. Many comic conventions have sections dedicated to authors, and even if they don't, there are a lot of readers who attend larger functions that will happily give your book a chance. I've been doing events for about 14 years and have pretty extensive experience being behind a booth, so if you want a full video about how to navigate that whole scene, what you need, what to expect, and how you should prepare, please tell me in the comments. This is something that I've only been doing recently, and to be honest, I haven't been seeing a lot of turnaround for it, but PR boxes are something that a lot of authors also utilize, which a PR box is basically a box for your book that has usually the book itself and a bunch of promotional products like artwork and like other merchandise surrounding your book. Some authors will send those to influencers so that they can unbox it or talk about it on stream or on their social media, and in hopes that it will bring attention to their book. Personally, I have not felt any real turnaround for this, and it does kind of cost a lot of money to send out your physical book, and shipping costs and everything just didn't seem worth it to me. But if you have the money to spend on that and you think it might help you, then I would suggest trying it out. But personally, like I said, this isn't an instructional video. I reiterated that in my I said that in my last video, but just in my experience, PR boxes don't seem to be extremely worth it unless you have a budget to send out a lot of them at one time. If I were to start over with the knowledge I have now, I would have done things much sooner. Not only would I have published sooner instead of being too scared, but I would have started my author social media sooner to build up hype for my books and to gather an audience. At the time, I thought it was silly to start an Instagram for a book that didn't exist yet, but I really wish I had. I think I also would have spent a lot more money on my initial promotions when my first book came out, instead of being afraid to spend money right off the bat. Because now I don't even do my costume business anymore, so I technically have less money to spend on promotions, but at the time when I did have the money to spend on it, I really wish I had and hadn't been scared to do it. I would have also utilized ARC readers much sooner in this career of mine, if it can be called that. And I think that it really did help me a lot in promoting Wicked Tides. That so far has been my most successful book to date since I published back in 2019. And so obviously I just wish that I had done all of that sooner. I think it is very worth it. I think utilizing sites like Book Sirens, if you don't have a big following, I don't really have a big following, so when I promoted or when I said that I was accepting ARC readers, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of people coming to me wanting that. But Book Sirens is just such a, or Book Sirens and sites like Book Sirens is just, because it's dedicated to those kind of people, it was just so helpful to have them kind of do all the heavy lifting, and I just paid a couple bucks here and there when a reader decided to read my book. All in all, I really don't regret, even if there are things that I would change, I don't technically regret the things that I've done and the mistakes that I've made, because it has been a huge learning experience. And I think I'm a lot different than a lot of the indie authors out there, or not so much different, but I think that you hear about the indie authors like me a lot less than you hear about the more successful ones, because we are kind of like dropped in the background. We don't have the budget to spend on promotion and sending out PR boxes and all of these other things. That is all I have for you guys today. That was a significantly shorter video than my last video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and if you are not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. I appreciate you being here, and until next time, happy reading or writing. Bye!